pause for just a moment. There's a reason you're here, right now, listening to these words. Out of countless videos floating through this vast ocean we call the internet, this one has found its way to you. That's not random chance. It's not luck. It's alignment. It's resonance. It's your own frequency reaching out, calling back to you through this very moment. Somewhere deep within, a shift is already happening. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. Can't you? Like a quiet stirring beneath the surface of still water. Like the very first breath of dawn before the sun appears. There's something moving inside you. Something subtle but undeniable. We often believe we're just passengers, sitting quietly as life happens to us. We think the world outside is in control, while we simply watch, powerless. But the truth is far more profound. You are not only the observer, you are also the co-creator. Every single thing that appears in your life, every challenge, every blessing, every person you meet, is a reflection of the energy you carry within. Imagine a mirror. When you look into it, you don't expect to see a different face staring back. Life works the same way. What you see out there is a reflection of what's happening in here. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they're painting the picture of your reality moment by moment. And right now, as you listen, that painting is shifting. Your energy field, that invisible, living field of light that surrounds you, is responding. It's recalibrating, like an old radio tuning into a clearer, more beautiful station. You might even notice your breath deepening, your shoulders softening, a quiet sense of recognition whispering through you. That's not coincidence. That's connection. This message isn't coming to you from me. It's rising from a deeper part of yourself, the part that has been waiting patiently while you struggled, while you searched, while you tried to figure everything out on your own. It's the part of you that knows who you really are. Beneath all the noise and doubt, think of life like a river. For so long, you may have been swimming upstream, exhausting yourself, trying to control the current. But there comes a moment when you realize the river isn't your enemy. When you let go, when you allow yourself to float, you find that the current was always carrying you exactly where you needed to go. This moment, right now, is your invitation to stop fighting and start allowing. As you sit here, you are standing at the threshold of a new chapter. You don't need to force anything or figure out every detail. You don't need to have the perfect plan or the perfect mindset. All that's asked of you is presence, a willingness to be here fully, with open hands and an open heart. Because when you allow yourself to truly be here, to feel this moment instead of rushing past it, you become a conscious participant in your own evolution. And in that stillness, the world begins to reflect back to you in miraculous ways. So take a deep breath. Feel the weight you've been carrying start to loosen, like old chains slipping away. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something vast, something luminous. Your soul has been guiding you here all along. And now, as you listen, it's whispering, "Welcome home. You are ready." This isn't just another video. This is a call from the deepest part of you to awaken, to rise, and to remember the power that has always been yours. 1. Take action even when you don't feel ready. There's a quiet myth we've all been taught to believe that one day we will wake up and finally feel ready. Ready to change our lives. Ready to take that leap of faith. Ready to do the thing our soul has been whispering to us about for years. But here's the truth I've learned. And it's a truth that might feel a little uncomfortable at first. No one ever truly feels ready. Not you, not me, not the people you admire from a distance and imagine have it all figured out. Even those who have accomplished extraordinary things began in moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. I've met people who built incredible lives for themselves. People who seem so strong and unshakable now, and when you listen closely to their stories, There's always a common thread they started before they felt prepared. They didn't wait for perfect timing, or for every piece of the puzzle to be neatly in place. They moved forward with trembling hands, with their hearts pounding, and with 1,000 voices of fear trying to hold them back. I've lived this too. There were times in my life when I thought, I'll take that step when I'm stronger, when I'm smarter, when I've healed just a little more, but those moments never arrived the way I imagined. Life didn't send me a signal saying, now you're ready. It was only when I stopped waiting for certainty, when I took the step, even though my knees were shaking, that the path revealed itself to me. It's like walking through a foggy night. You can't see the whole road ahead. You can only see a few steps in front of you. And yet, when you take those steps, the next part of the path appears. This is how clarity works. It doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. Many of us get stuck believing that planning and preparing endlessly will protect us from failure. We convince ourselves that if we just wait a little longer, gather a little more knowledge, build a little more confidence, then we'll be safe to move forward. But what really happens is this: we stay still. We keep our dreams locked away while life passes by. The truth is, courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. The people who seem fearless aren't without fear. They've simply learned not to let fear be the one making decisions. Fear will always try to keep you safe. And safety is comforting. But safety can also be a cage. If you listen only to fear, you'll never leave that cage. Taking action when you don't feel ready is like planting a seed in the dark. You don't know exactly how it will grow or what it will become, but you trust that if you tend to it, if you keep showing up, something beautiful will emerge. The same is true for your dreams. The results won't come overnight, but step by step, moment by moment, you'll begin to see change unfold. I think of it like learning to swim. You can stand on the edge of the pool for hours, imagining what the water will feel like, rehearsing how you'll move your arms and kick your legs. But none of that matters until you actually jump in. The water teaches you in a way the edge never can. Life is exactly like that pool. The lessons, the growth, the strength, they only come once. You immerse yourself in the experience. So if you've been waiting for permission, for the perfect plan, or for the fear to disappear, I want you to hear this. You don't need to wait anymore. The only permission you need is the one you give yourself. Take the step, even if it's small. Make the call. Write the first sentence. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Move toward the life you want, even if your voice shakes and your heart races. Because the moment you act, something incredible happens. You create momentum. The universe responds to movement, not to hesitation. When you take that first step, the doors you couldn't even see before begin to open. Opportunities that felt distant suddenly draw closer. People who can help you appear at just the right time. I know it's scary. I know the unknown feels overwhelming. But I promise you, this clarity is waiting for you on the other side of action. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You only need to take the next step in faith. And when you do, step by step, you'll realize you were more capable, more resilient, and more ready than you ever believed. Don't wait for a perfect moment that will never come. Create it right here, right now, by choosing to begin. 2. The power of the present moment. The only place you can truly change. There's a simple truth that we often forget in the rush of our daily lives. This moment, right here and right now, is all we ever truly have. The past feels so real sometimes. It plays like an old film in our minds, complete with the same painful scenes, the same regrets, the same what-if questions that haunt us in the quiet hours of the night. But no matter how vivid those memories seem, they are just that, memories, echoes of experiences that no longer exist anywhere, except in your mind. The future, on the other hand, You can feel like a heavy weight pressing on your chest. It's full of plans, expectations, worries, and dreams. We play out 1,000 scenarios in our heads, trying to prepare for every possibility. But the truth is, the future hasn't happened yet. It's a blank canvas, and every imagined outcome is just that imagined. Past and future, memory and imagination. Neither of them is solid. Neither is real in this moment. They are like shadows you can never quite touch. The only place where life actually is here. Now, I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time in my life when I lived almost entirely in my head, replaying old mistakes, reliving conversations I wished had gone differently, or worrying endlessly about what might happen tomorrow. It felt like I was constantly moving, yet I was stuck in the same place. My body was in the present, but my mind was everywhere else. It wasn't until I hit a breaking point that I began to understand something deeply profound. The present moment is the only place where change can ever happen. Think of it like this. Imagine standing in a field, holding a handful of seeds. If you want a garden to grow, you can't plant those seeds in yesterday's soil. You also can't throw them into the air, hoping they'll take root in tomorrow. The only soil you can ever plant in is the ground beneath your feet right now. Every choice you make in this moment is like planting a seed. Some will grow quickly, others will take time, but they will shape the landscape of your future. The problem is, most of us try to change our lives by wrestling with the past or worrying about the future. We tell ourselves, "I'll be happy when I fix what happened back then," or "I'll finally live fully when the right conditions arrive." But that's like trying to fix a reflection in the mirror by wiping the mirror itself. It doesn't work. You have to change the source, not the reflection, and the source is always in this moment, always inside you. I know how tempting it is to think, tomorrow will be better. We promise ourselves that we'll start living once we have more money, more time, more confidence. But tomorrow is never guaranteed. It's a concept, not a place you can step into. Right now, in this very breath, you have the power to choose differently, to think a kinder thought, to take a small action that moves you closer to the life you want, to pause instead of reacting, to soften instead of hardening. These choices may seem small, almost insignificant, but they ripple outward in ways you can't imagine. The present moment is like a still pond. Every choice you make is a stone you drop into its surface. The ripples spread far and wide, touching shores you cannot see. Over time, these ripples shape your reality. When you return to the present, even for a few seconds, you step out of the storms of past and future. You become steady, like the eye of a hurricane. From that stillness, you see more clearly. You make decisions not from fear or regret, but from awareness and intention. It's not about denying your past or ignoring your dreams for the future. It's about realizing that the doorway to both healing and creating is always now. When you tend to this moment, you are indirectly tending to both your past and your future. Think of a tree. The strength of its branches and the quality of its fruit depend on the nourishment it receives today. You don't have to fix the old branches or rush to grow new ones overnight. All you need to do is care for the roots, here and now. With time, the tree will flourish naturally. The same is true for you. Your life will expand in its own perfect rhythm when you focus on the present. So, take a deep breath. Feel it all the way down into your belly. Notice the texture of this very moment, the sounds around you, the sensation of your body resting against the chair, the rise and fall of your chest. This is the only place where your true power lives. You can't rewrite the past, and you can't control the future, but you can shape what comes next by choosing, right now, to plant seeds of love, courage, and intention. This moment is your canvas. This breath is your beginning. Everything else, all the healing, all the growth, all the miracles, flows from here. 3. The inner critic. And the truth behind it. There's a voice inside you. You know the one I'm talking about. It whispers when you're about to take a step forward. You're not ready. It murmurs when you dream too big. Who do you think you are? It sighs when you try something new. You're going to fail. Sometimes, it doesn't whisper at all. It shouts. It floods your mind with doubts, with fears, with reasons why you should just stay where you are. I know this voice well. For years, it felt like my constant companion. It spoke with such authority, such familiarity, that I believed it was me. I thought those words were my own truth, my own judgment, my own common sense. And because I believed them, I lived small. I avoided risks. I hid my light. I stayed stuck in places that didn't nourish me, because the voice convinced me that safety was better than possibility. But here's what I've come to understand. Through many dark nights and many silent mornings, that voice is not who you are. It feels personal because it uses your tone, your language, and the memories of your own past to make its case. But really, it's just an echo, a collection of old fears, old criticisms, and old wounds gathered over a lifetime. Think back to when you were a child. Maybe someone told you that you were too loud, too sensitive, or not smart enough. Maybe you were criticized when you tried and failed, or ignored when you needed love and encouragement. Those moments leave a mark. They plant seeds of doubt that grow into a tangled forest of inner dialogue. And here's the thing. The inner critic doesn't know the difference between past and present. It keeps repeating the same warnings, over and over, as if you're still that vulnerable child trying to make sense of the world. It believes it's protecting you. It believes that by keeping you small, it's keeping you safe. But staying small is not safety. Staying small is a slow suffocation. I remember a time when I almost let that voice decide the course of my life. I had an opportunity in front of me, one that could have changed everything. My heart said yes, but the inner critic screamed no. It listed every possible way I could fail, every humiliation I might face, every reason why I wasn't ready. For a while, I listened. I froze. I almost let the chance slip away. But in a moment of quiet, I realized something profound. The inner critic has no power except the power I give it. The voice itself is not the problem, believing it is. Imagine standing on a stage while someone in the audience shouts insults at you. You can't control what they say, but you can choose whether to take their words as truth or let them pass through you like smoke. The inner critic is that audience member. It's loud, persistent, and sometimes cruel, but it doesn't actually know what you're capable of. When you begin to see the voice for what it is, just a collection of echoes from the past, you create space between you and it. In that space, there's freedom. Freedom to act even when the voice says you can't. Freedom to believe in your dreams even when doubt whispers that they're impossible. Freedom to be larger than the limits you've been taught. The next time the inner critic shows up, don't try to fight it. Fighting only makes it louder. Instead, listen with compassion and say, I hear you. I know you're trying to protect me, but I don't need that protection anymore. Treat it like an old friend who means well but doesn't understand who you've become. Thank it, and then choose a different path. Over time, as you stop feeding it with your belief, the voice softens. It may never disappear completely, and that's okay. It's part of being human. The goal isn't to silence it, but to stop confusing it with who you are. Because you are not the voice. You are the awareness that hears it. You are the sky, vast and open, while that voice is just passing weather. And here's the most beautiful truth: once you stop identifying with the inner critic, you begin to hear a different voice, a quieter, steadier voice that speaks from love, not fear. This is your true self. This is the voice of wisdom, courage, and possibility. When you recognize the difference between those two voices, the world opens up. You realize that you are free to create, free to grow, free to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. The past may have shaped you, but it doesn't have to define you. And every time you choose to act from love instead of fear, you take back a piece of your power. That is how liberation begins, one choice, one breath, one moment of truth at a time. 4. The energy field and the frequency of the heart. There is a rhythm inside you that has been playing since the moment you were born, a soft, steady beat that has carried you through every experience, every joy, and every heartbreak. We call it the heart, but it's far more than just a muscle that keeps you alive. It is the center of your being, the bridge between the physical world and the unseen realms of energy that surround us. Quantum science has revealed something extraordinary. The electromagnetic field generated by the human heart is up to 5,000 times stronger than the one produced by the brain. Just think about that for a moment. We live in a society that worships the mind, that teaches us to think our way through life, to solve every problem with logic and planning. Yet, beneath all that thinking, your heart has been quietly radiating a powerful signal into the world, shaping your experiences in ways you may never have noticed. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, doesn't just stay trapped inside you. It extends outward, like ripples on a pond. This field of energy interacts with the world around you, influencing what you attract and how others respond to you. In a very real and measurable way, you are broadcasting your inner state to the universe. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately sensed the mood, even before anyone spoke? Maybe you felt tension so thick it was almost visible, or a warmth so welcoming it wrapped around you like a blanket. That's the heart's energy at work. We are constantly reading and exchanging these signals with each other, often without realizing it. When we are caught in fear, anger, or resentment, our heart's signal becomes chaotic. It's like trying to tune into a beautiful song on the radio, but all you get is static. In that state, life feels heavy. Opportunities slip through our fingers. Relationships become strained. We feel alone, even in a crowded room. But when we cultivate emotions like gratitude, courage, and love, something remarkable happens. The heart's frequency shifts. The static clears. Suddenly, our signal becomes coherent, strong, clear, and magnetic. Gratitude, in particular, is like tuning your inner instrument. It's the difference between banging on a piano with random keys and playing a melody that moves the soul. When you focus on even the smallest blessings, your heart opens, and the frequency you send out begins to align with experiences that reflect that openness back to you. I've seen this transformation in my own life. There was a time when I carried so much bitterness that it seemed to seep into everything I touched. No matter how hard I worked or how carefully I planned, life felt like a constant uphill battle. It wasn't until I began a simple daily practice, placing my hand on my heart, breathing deeply, and silently naming 3 things I was grateful for, that things began to shift. At first, the changes were subtle. A kind smile from a stranger, an unexpected opportunity that seemed to appear out of nowhere. But as I kept nurturing that inner field, the outer world responded with increasing synchronicity. It felt as if doors that had been locked for years were suddenly opening with ease. This is not magic in the sense of illusions or tricks. It's the natural law of resonance. Just as 2 tuning forks vibrating at the same frequency will begin to harmonize, your inner state will call forth matching experiences. When you fill your heart with love, you become a beacon for love. When you choose courage, life sends you chances to rise and prove your strength. When you embody gratitude, the world reflects abundance back to you. The heart is the most profound instrument of creation you possess. It doesn't matter what has happened in the past or what you fear about the future. Each moment, You have the power to pause, breathe, and reset your frequency. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your heart's energy expanding outward, like soft waves of light touching everything around you. See it reaching your loved ones, your community, and even strangers you'll never meet. With each beat, you are shaping the field of possibilities. Life isn't about controlling every detail or forcing outcomes. It's about learning to tend to the energy you bring to this moment. Because when your heart's frequency is aligned with gratitude, courage, and love, you don't have to chase miracles. They naturally find their way to you. And that is the quiet power you've carried within you all along, the ability to transform your world, not by pushing harder, but by tuning your inner song until the universe cannot help but dance along. 5. Two paths. The choice belongs to you. There comes a point in every life when you realize you are standing at a crossroads. It may not look dramatic from the outside. There's no flashing sign pointing left or right. No booming voice telling you what to do. Often, it feels quiet, almost unremarkable, like a small, private moment inside your own heart. But don't mistake that stillness for insignificance. These are the moments that shape your destiny. Before you stretch two paths, though they may not be visible to anyone but you. The first is the path of growth. This is the path where courage guides your steps. It's rarely easy. It asks you to leave behind the familiar, to walk into the unknown, with nothing but faith in yourself and a whisper of possibility in your heart. It's the road of becoming, where each challenge becomes a teacher and each setback a lesson. The second is the path of fear. This path feels safer at first because it is familiar. It's lined with routines you've outgrown and habits that keep you comfortable, but also small. It's a well-worn trail, the one you can walk with your eyes closed because you've been down it so many times before. But here's the thing, what feels safe often comes with hidden costs. The longer you stay, the more you feel caged by your own hesitation, your own excuses. I know this crossroads well. I've stood there, trembling, wanting desperately to take the path of growth, but terrified of what I might lose. Afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of falling flat on my face. There were times when I chose fear, and every time I did, a little part of me grew quieter, dimmer, like a light flickering out. But the times I chose growth, those were the moments that brought me alive. Even when I stumbled, even when I failed, especially when I failed. Because on the path of growth, failure isn't the end. It's simply a bend in the road, a necessary curve that teaches you something essential about who you are and what you're capable of. The hardest part about this choice is that it doesn't just happen once. You don't decide today and never face the crossroads again. Life is generous in that way. It will keep bringing you back here, again and again, with new opportunities to choose differently. Every moment, every decision is like casting a vote for the person you want to become. Most of us think that big choices are what define us: the career move, the relationship, the leap of faith. But in truth, it's the smaller decisions, made quietly and consistently, that shape the course of our lives. Each time you choose to face discomfort instead of hiding from it, you're walking the path of growth. Each time you choose honesty over avoidance, courage over silence, love over fear, you are reshaping not just your life, but the person you are becoming. The path of fear whispers familiar stories. It tells you to wait, to stay small, to play it safe. It will sound reasonable, even caring. Don't take that risk. You might get hurt. But remember, fear doesn't know the difference between danger and growth. Its only job is to keep you still. The path of growth, on the other hand, doesn't shout or demand. It speaks softly, like a quiet inner knowing. Sometimes it feels like the faintest pull in your chest, a sense of expansion when you think about what could be. It may not give you guarantees, but it offers something far more precious: freedom. I've learned that no one can make this choice for you. People can encourage you, guide you, or walk alongside you for a while, but only you can decide which path your feet will take. And the truth is, you are always choosing, whether consciously or not. By doing nothing, you are still choosing, and often, that means defaulting to the path of fear. The good news is, you don't have to walk the entire path at once. You only have to take the next step. Growth doesn't require you to know exactly where you'll end up. It only asks that you show up for this moment, with as much courage as you can muster, and take one small step forward. Picture yourself 1 year from now. Imagine looking back at today and realizing this was the moment when you chose differently, when you stopped letting fear be the loudest voice in the room, when you decided that your dreams were worth the discomfort of growth. You may not be able to see the whole journey ahead, but you can trust that each brave choice plants a seed, and over time, those seeds grow into a life you could only imagine, a life that feels alive, meaningful, and deeply your own. The crossroads is here, now, in this very breath, and while no one can walk the path for you, the choice will always belong to you. 6. Your potential isn't out there. It's waiting to be awakened for much of our lives. We've been taught to look outward for answers. We're told that if we just gain more skills, more time, more resources, then we will finally become who we're meant to be. We chase degrees, promotions, relationships, and recognition, believing that somewhere out there lies the missing piece that will complete us. But let me share a truth. I learned the hard way: you are not incomplete. You never were. You were born whole, carrying within you everything you would ever need. The strength you seek, the wisdom you long for, the courage you think is missing. They are not waiting to be given to you by the world. They are waiting for you to notice them, to call them forth, to let them breathe. Think of it like a seed buried deep in the earth. From the outside, it looks small and lifeless, as if nothing is happening. But inside, there is potential beyond imagining. Entire forests hidden within a tiny shell. The seed doesn't need to go out and find sunlight or soil. It already has the blueprint for growth inside of it. All it needs are the right conditions to awaken what has been there all along. You are that seed. Your potential isn't something to be hunted down in a distant future or discovered in some external achievement. It's here, inside you, right now, quietly waiting for you to stop searching long enough to listen. The trouble is, we live in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough. We scroll through endless images of other people's lives, comparing ourselves and coming up short. We measure our worth by numbers on a screen, by approval from others, by how busy or productive we appear. And when we feel empty, we assume the answer must be out there. A new course, a new relationship, a new version of ourselves that will finally make us whole. But here's the thing. You can't become whole by adding more pieces to yourself, because you were never broken to begin with. I remember a time when I felt utterly lost. No matter how much I achieved, there was always a lingering sense of not enough. I kept reaching for the next milestone, hoping that this time, finally, I would feel complete. But the more I reached, the more distant that feeling became. It wasn't until I stopped, truly stopped, that I began to see clearly. In the quiet, I realized that I had been searching in all the wrong places. What I was chasing wasn't missing from me. It had simply been buried beneath layers of fear, doubt, and old stories about who I thought I had to be. It was like wiping dust from a mirror. The reflection had always been there, clear and true, but I couldn't see it because of everything clouding its surface. Your potential works the same way. You don't need to construct it from scratch. You don't need to wait for permission or perfect timing. You simply need to remove what blocks it. The beliefs that tell you you're small, the wounds that convince you you're broken, the voices that insist you need to prove your worth. When you begin to let those layers fall away, something incredible happens. That stronger, the wiser version of you, the one you've been waiting for, begins to step forward. This version of you has been here all along. It's the part of you that keeps going even when life knocks you down. The part that longs for more, not out of greed, but because it knows you were meant for a life that feels alive and expansive. The part that believes, even when everything around you suggests you should give up. You don't have to force this version of yourself into existence. You only have to allow it. Allow yourself to stop playing small to make others comfortable. Allow yourself to shine without apology. Allow yourself to trust that you already have what it takes. There is incredible freedom in realizing you don't have to go anywhere to find your potential. It's not hiding in some faraway place, waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's here, now, pulsing quietly beneath your skin, whispering for you to pause and pay attention. So take a deep breath and imagine yourself turning inward. Imagine looking past the noise of the world and the noise of your own doubts, down to the still, steady place at the center of your being. There, you will find a light that has never gone out of quiet, knowing that you are already enough. Your journey isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. And when you remember, when you finally see yourself clearly, that's when your true potential rises, not as something to be achieved, but as something to be lived. 7. The paradox of over-preparation. We live in a world that praises preparation. From a young age, we're told to plan carefully, to think ahead, to make sure every detail is perfect before we take a single step forward. It sounds wise, even responsible. And of course, there's value in preparation to a point, but there's a subtle trap hidden inside this well-meaning advice. And many of us fall into it without realizing. It's the belief that we must be completely ready before we begin. This belief feels safe. It gives us the illusion of control. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I have more time. I'll take that leap when I've saved enough money. I'll pursue my dream when I feel confident enough. But here's the quiet truth. Most people never discover that perfect moment never comes. The conditions you are waiting for will always feel just out of reach. Like the horizon, no matter how far you walk, it keeps moving further away. I've watched countless people, myself included, stand at the edge of their own potential, endlessly polishing their plans, but never taking the first step. And over time, I realized something heartbreaking. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move at all. Research supports this. Studies show that people who take action when they feel about 70% ready are far more successful than those who wait to feel 90% or even 100% ready. Why? Because opportunities have a window, and that window doesn't stay open forever. By the time you're absolutely certain, the moment has often passed. Life rewards movement, not perfection. The universe doesn't respond to our endless planning. It responds to energy in motion, to the courage of a single step forward. Think of it like a locked door. From where you stand, you can't see what's on the other side. You can guess, you can imagine, you can even convince yourself it's safer to stay where you are. But the moment you turn the handle and push it open, a whole new world reveals itself. And here's the thing, you don't need to know what's behind every door. You just need to open the first one. Taking action, even a small action, changes everything. It shifts your perspective. It builds momentum. It brings you into alignment with possibilities you couldn't see while standing still. I remember a time in my own life when fear disguised itself as preparation. I told myself I wasn't procrastinating. I was getting ready. I read more books, gathered more advice, waited for just the right timing. But beneath it all, I was afraid. Afraid of failing. Afraid of being seen. Afraid of discovering that maybe I wasn't as capable as I hoped. Then one day, I realized something simple yet profound. No amount of preparation can erase fear. Fear doesn't disappear when you think you're ready. Fear dissolves when you move. It's like learning to swim. You can study the techniques, read every manual, watch countless videos, but none of it matters until you actually get in the water. The water itself teaches you what no amount of theory ever could. The same is true for life. You will never be completely ready, and that's okay. Instead of striving for perfection, aim for presence. Start where you are, with what you have, and let the journey teach you what you need to know along the way. Each step will prepare you for the next. Each challenge will strengthen you in ways no amount of planning ever could. It's natural to want certainty before we act. We crave guarantees, a clear map that shows every twist and turn. But life isn't a map. It's more like a winding trail through a forest. You don't get to see the entire path at once. You see only the next few steps, and you trust that as you keep moving, the rest will reveal itself. And here's the beautiful paradox: when you stop waiting to feel ready and start walking, you often discover you were more prepared than you realized. You begin to see doors you never noticed before, resources that seem to appear out of nowhere, people who show up at exactly the right time. It feels almost magical, but it's simply the universe responding to your willingness to move. So if you've been standing still, endlessly preparing, take this as a gentle invitation. Begin. Even if your hands shake, even if you don't have the full plan, even if your heart pounds with uncertainty, start small if you must. Make the phone call, send the email, share your idea. Take one brave step, and then another, because movement creates clarity. Momentum creates possibility. And before you know it, those tiny, imperfect steps will carry you further than you ever imagined. Not because you waited for perfection, but because you dared to begin. 8. Hardships are the foundation, not the barrier. When life feels heavy, when everything seems to crumble around you, it's easy to believe you've lost your way. We've been taught to see challenges as signs that something is wrong, that we've made a mistake, chosen the wrong path, or been abandoned by life itself. And in those dark moments, it's natural to ask, why me? Why now? I have been there. I've known the kind of pain that makes you want to hide from the world. The kind of nights where sleep never comes because your mind keeps replaying every failure, every wrong turn, every loss. And in those times, I used to curse my past, thinking, if only this hadn't happened, I'd be further ahead by now. But over the years, through much reflection and healing, I began to see something I couldn't see before. The very hardships I hated were shaping me into someone stronger, wiser, and more awake. Imagine a builder standing before a patch of land. Before the house can rise, the ground must be dug deep, the foundation laid strong. That work is messy. It looks chaotic, even destructive. But without it, the structure could never stand. Your life works in the same way. The difficulties you face are not walls meant to stop you. They are bricks, one by one, forming the unshakable base upon which your future will be built. When you go through a challenge, your frequency, your inner energy is being recalibrated. At first, it feels like you are breaking apart, but beneath the surface, you are actually being rebuilt. Like metal forged in fire, the heat is painful, yes, but it strengthens you in ways comfort never could. Think back to the hardest moments of your life, the heartbreaks, the failures, the disappointments that left you gasping for air. You survived them. You're here, listening to these words. And if you look closely, you'll see that each of those experiences gave you something you carry today: a skill, a leçon, a deeper compassion for others, or a clearer understanding of who you are. Without those trials, you wouldn't be the person you are now. You wouldn't have the same resilience, the same insight, the same ability to rise again after falling. There's a saying I love. Scars are proof that you were stronger than what tried to break you. Your scars, whether they are visible or hidden deep within, are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of survival, of transformation, of strength earned through experience. It's easy to look at someone else's life and think they've had it easier, that they reached success without struggle. But if you could see beneath the surface, you'd find that every person who has built something meaningful has walked through fire to get there. Their outer glow is lit by an inner furnace of trials and lessons you may never know. The difference isn't whether or not we face hardship, it's how we choose to interpret it. When you see challenges as punishment, you shrink, you carry bitterness, and you stay stuck. But when you see them as preparation, as life's way of refining you, you grow. You begin to trust that even when things don't go your way, they are still guiding you toward where you're meant to be. I once met a woman who had gone through unimaginable loss. She told me something I've never forgotten. She said, "I don't thank life for my pain, but I thank it for what the pain gave me." That's the subtle but powerful shift we are invited to make. You don't have to love the suffering itself. You don't have to pretend it was easy or fair. But you can choose to honor what it taught you. You can carry gratitude for the wisdom it brought, the depth it carved into your soul, the empathy it gave you for others, walking their own dark roads. Every time you rise from a challenge, your frequency elevates. You vibrate at a new level, one that attracts experiences and opportunities, aligned with the stronger version of you that emerged from the struggle. So instead of cursing your past, bless it. Bless the mistakes, the heartbreaks, the detours. They were never random. They were part of the construction of you. Today, you stand on a foundation built from everything you've survived. And from here, you can build higher than you ever imagined, not despite your hardships, but because of them. The storm was never here to destroy you. It was here to prepare you for the moment when you would finally realize just how unshakable you've become. 9. Belief is the invisible bridge. There are moments in life when the path ahead feels uncertain, almost like standing at the edge of a vast and fog-covered valley. You can't see where the road leads. You don't know what awaits on the other side. And in that silence, fear begins to whisper, "Don't move. It's too risky. Stay where it's safe." I know that feeling well. There were times in my life when I stood frozen, not because there was no way forward, but because I couldn't see it. I wanted guarantees. I wanted proof. I wanted someone to show me the entire map so I could walk without doubt. But life doesn't work that way, and I've come to understand that it's not supposed to. In the world of quantum energy, the belief is not just a feeling, it is a force. It's an invisible bridge that links where you are now to where you want to go. Every time you take a step rooted in trust, you create a pathway that didn't exist before. This isn't just poetry or pretty words. It's how reality works on the deepest level. Quantum physics teaches us that reality exists as a field of infinite possibilities. Nothing is fixed until attention and energy converge to shape it. Your beliefs are that energy. They're like instructions sent out into the universe, silently organizing the events, people, and opportunities you need to manifest what you desire. When you doubt yourself, you weaken that signal. When you believe, even in the absence of visible proof, you strengthen it. I often imagine belief like crossing a bridge in heavy fog. You can't see the entire structure. In fact, from where you stand, it might look like there's nothing beneath your feet at all. But as you take a step, si à planque à pierre, supporting you, you take another step, and another plank forms. Before you know it, a bridge that seemed invisible begins to take shape beneath you, one step at a time. This is how we turn the unseen into the seen. The truth is, life doesn't require you to have all the answers. It only asks that you bring your willingness to walk forward, to trust that the next step will be revealed as you move. Belief isn't about pretending you have no fear. It's about holding faith close to your heart, even while your hands tremble. I've met people who believed deeply in their dreams long before anyone else did. They didn't wait for validation or permission. They didn't demand certainty before they acted. And somehow, through a series of what looked like coincidences, the right people showed up, doors opened, and opportunities appeared exactly when they were needed. From the outside, it might seem magical, but on the inside, it's simply how alignment works. Belief tunes your inner frequency, and the universe responds by matching that signal. It's like setting a radio to a particular station. Once you tune in, you begin to hear the music that was there all along. The opposite is also true. When you fill your mind with doubt, worry, and fear, it's like tuning into static. The opportunities may still exist, but you can't hear them clearly. They slip by unnoticed, drowned out by the noise of your disbelief. There was a time when my own faith was tested. I was walking through a season of deep uncertainty, and nothing in my external world gave me reason to hope. Everything I had built seemed to be falling apart. But somewhere deep inside, there was a quiet voice, faint but steady, telling me to keep moving. So I took one small step, then another, and slowly, as I kept going, things began to shift. People I had never met before came into my life at exactly the right moment. Unexpected opportunities appeared like gifts placed gently on my path. Looking back, I can see how it all connected. But at the time, all I had was faith. Faith that the bridge would hold even when I couldn't see it. This is why belief is so powerful. It doesn't just change how you feel about life. It changes life itself. It reshapes the quantum field around you, turning possibilities into reality, thoughts into form. So, if you're standing at the edge of uncertainty right now, I want you to remember this. You don't need to see the entire way forward. You don't need to know how it will all work out. You only need to take the next step with belief as your companion. As you walk, step by step, the bridge will build itself beneath you. And one day, when you glance back, you'll see that what once felt like empty air was always solid ground, patiently waiting for your faith to bring it to life. This is how you transform the invisible into the visible, the dream into reality, not by forcing or controlling, but by trusting and walking forward with an open heart. Take the first step today. This moment you are in right now is not random. It isn't an accident that these words have found you, or that you've stayed long enough to let them sink in. Deep within, your soul has been guiding you here, arranging the timing, the signs, and the quiet nudges that led you to this very point. You might think you simply stumbled upon this message, but the truth is, you were meant to hear it now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. So many of us wait for the perfect conditions before we begin. We wait for more courage, more clarity, more resources. We tell ourselves, once I feel ready, then I'll take action. Once I've healed completely, then I'll move forward. But life doesn't work that way. Perfection is a mirage. It keeps moving further away the closer you get to it. And while you're waiting, life keeps flowing by moment, choice by choice. The only place real change can happen is here, in the present moment. Close your eyes and imagine yourself 1 year from now. Looking back at this day, picture the version of you who chose to take a step forward. No matter how small, no matter how uncertain, imagine the pride and gratitude you'll feel knowing that everything began with the choice you made right now. And then imagine the opposite a year, passing with nothing different, because fear convinced you to stay still. That version of you would look back and whisper, "I wish I had been braver." You don't have to be perfect to begin. You don't have to have it all figured out. The universe isn't asking for flawless execution. It's asking for your willingness to show up. One small step, taken with an open heart, is powerful enough to set miracles in motion. Remember this. When you shift your inner frequency, the outer world will shift to match it. When you take action, the universe takes action with you. When you choose love and trust over fear and doubt, doors you never imagined will begin to open. You don't need to see the entire staircase to climb it. You don't need to know exactly how the path will unfold. All you need to do is take that first step today. Think of the people who have inspired you, who have built meaningful lives and touched others with their light. None of them began fully ready. They began with trembling hands, with uncertainty in their hearts. But they began anyway. And because they did, they discovered strengths they didn't know they had, met people they hadn't yet dreamed of meeting, and created lives beyond anything they could have imagined at the start. That same possibility lives inside you. The world is waiting for the unique gift that only you can bring. Your voice, your courage, your perspective. These are things no one else can offer in quite the same way. Don't let fear convince you that you have nothing to give. Don't let the past convince you that you are defined by what has happened before. You are here, alive, in this moment, and that is enough. So take a deep breath. Feel the steady beat of your heart, the same heart that has carried you through every storm. Let that rhythm remind you that you are supported, that you are ready, and that the universe is ready to meet you halfway. Today, choose the path of growth. Even if it feels uncertain, choose to step into the fullest, brightest version of yourself, even if it feels scary. Because when you do, you won't just change your life, you'll send ripples of transformation out into the world. Others will see your courage and find their own. Your light will help someone else find their way through the dark. The world is waiting for you, for the gift only you can bring. Don't wait another day. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because this is the perfect moment. It's yours right here, right now. Take the first step and watch how the universe moves with you.